All right, ladies and gentlemen, step 3. Once you've come up with those symbols, now we're going to talk about some Scamper. And in class, we talked about Scamper and how it shows up in the art room. So the first thing you're going to do for this worksheet, and this is a practice worksheet, you might not use all of the ideas. You might only use 1 or 2 of the ideas from here, but it's really practicing this way of thinking and this way of combining. So you're going to draw 3 of your non-trite symbols. So I'm going to start with my, I'm going to go with my Lego heart. I'm going to go with my heart hammer. And I'm going to go with my needle, sewing my costume. So those first 3 that you watched me come up with. All right? Then I'm going to take these symbols and alter, combine, change, manipulate them in all these different ways. So, substitute means that you take one piece of an object and you substitute it. So you use it in a different context. So for example, if I have my hearts, let's see. So sometimes it's easier to, when you start doing these, to draw the original image. So if I've got my original image here, I've got that. How could I add to this and maybe substitute something else? Let's see. Oh, I could, what could I do? And I'm just looking at, okay, what could I substitute? So maybe instead of the Lego, maybe instead of all those Lego pieces, I substitute, those Lego hearts with little Legos. So instead of a bunch of little, like the little dots, inside them, I put all the Legos instead. And I'm not a huge fan of that idea, but it shows me substitute. So you don't have to love every idea here. You can just kind of move on and get 1 or 2 ideas for each of these. Combine. Okay, so I got to take 2 of these and combine them. Well, maybe I'll go back to this idea. And, okay, maybe I'll take these 2 are both dealing with family. Maybe I'll combine them to create one big family symbol. So I'll take this, and I'll do my Lego heart, and then maybe I'll add the hammer, kind of crisscrossing it. So combine means that you're setting them on top of each other, next to each other, combining them, putting them together, putting 2 separate ideas together. Combining is not just drawing the 2 items. That is not combined. You've got to merge them, blend them, overlap them, somehow put them into one image together. That is combine. Adapt means you're going to change one of the ideas so that it goes into something else. So if I go to adapt, maybe I adapt, let's see. So maybe I take this idea, let's see, let's take this idea. And let's go back to, let's go back to my Lego heart, and I stick my Lego heart on top of, I go back to that original idea of the spool of thread, and I make that Lego heart the top of the spool of thread. So I've adapted that idea. So I've taken 2 separate ideas and changed one of them. All right. My M is magnify, minimize, which means make one thing bigger and one thing smaller. So for this, I could do something like I could make, what could I do? I could make, if I make my hammer really big, so I'm magnifying it, and then inside my hammer, I add the Lego pieces. So I've got my little Lego inside my hammer. So I've made this smaller and fitting inside the bigger image. Or I could, or if I take my Lego heart, This is a separate idea. I could take my Lego, let's divide it so I see that's a separate idea. I take my Lego heart and, oh wait, I could do, so if I make, let's see, let's make the needle is really small. So maybe if I make my needle really big, so I'm magnifying it, and then I fit the Lego heart inside it. Ooh, there we go. That's a better magnify minimize. I don't like this one. That one's a better idea. There we go. So, now, purpose. I'm going to change the purpose. That means I'm going to combine them in a way that makes the purposes different. So I'm going to go back to that hammer idea. And maybe the spool here becomes the spool of thread. So I've got my thread coming here, and there's and then I draw my needle coming off it. So then I'm kind of like, the purpose of this hammer has changed. The stick of the hammer has now become the spool. Eliminate means if I take one of these ideas and get rid of something. Now be careful with eliminate, because we're taking these non-trite symbols. You want to make sure that you're eliminating something but not going back to trite. So if I go with a heart, if I go heart and I eliminate the Lego, now suddenly I'm back to a trite symbol, and that's not what I want to do. So I want to eliminate something. I want to get rid of something. So maybe instead of, because I don't like maybe the needle is still super trite. Maybe instead of the needle, maybe I just go with the costume and go, I just add the costume piece. And maybe instead of the costume piece and the, oh, that's what I could eliminate. I could eliminate the string. So if I go to the costume piece and I just have the needle sticking into it. So there we go. I got my needle in my costume piece. So I've eliminated the line of thread. Okay. Rearrange means to take the parts and pieces and put them together in a different way. So maybe if I go back to this costume one, maybe instead of, or maybe I take, let's see, which one of these would be best to rearrange? Oh, maybe instead of, let's go with the Lego heart. So if I have my Lego heart, and instead of having the Legos on the heart, I draw the Lego, and instead of little circle pieces on there, the circle pieces are hearts. There we go. So now I've rearranged the parts. I took the Lego and the heart and I separated them and then rearranged them. I switched their order. So I rearranged the parts and pieces. I reversed it. I flipped it. All right, so come up with different ways of using SCAMPER.